listening to Walking with Him, hosted by Jeff McDermott. Regular guest hosts Travis Phillips, Jeremy Sampson, and Brandon. And now your host, Jeff McDermott.
Good morning. My name's Jeff McDermott with Walking with Him, and I've got one of my wingmen and my awesome sound guy, Brandon Payne, here with me this morning.
Well, good morning, Jeff. Welcome to Walking with Him. Jeff, we're talking about walking with Him. I know a lot of people are asking the question, why walking with Him? Why did you want to do this?
So I bought this building, I think December this last year for my school, my business that I have. We've got a couple extra rooms in here, and I don't know, for some reason I decided it would be cool. And we got to have a podcast room, but I didn't have any anticipation or plans or whatnot. As I've been walking with my faith in my men's group, we've kind of just been feeding off of each other and growing and wanting to do more. You know, some things have come up and some guys have suggested that maybe we do this. So this is, if you don't start, you're not going to get it done. So it's one thing that I guess we just decided that we were going to do this and move forward and have fun with it. And hopefully the 4 listeners that start this week we'll grow to 8 next week and 12 the week after. And hopefully, it's something that we can grow with as we go.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. And I don't know 4 of us nerds putting this all together, but Jeff, I'm just kind of curious. Why did you pick the title Walking with Him?
So Travis and I were kind of just going back and forth and we were getting close, and it was walking with this and here and there. And you listen to all these people, they're always like, I am him. And no, there's only one him, and we want to walk with him. All these people that it's always nice to have self-confidence, but there's only one him, right? And in my opinion, let's just go walk with him. So I don't know, it felt like it was the right name for the time. I don't know, I checked to make sure that there wasn't 25 other Walking with Hims. I could have been wrong, but I think that was definitely the calling for us. So that's what we went with.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's really a good answer. Everybody's wondering, how do you pick a name of a show? What do you want to get out of the show? What kind of things do you see coming up, or people you want to interview?
So basically, anybody that is struggling or did struggle or is walking with God, and we want to talk to everybody. We want to hear their story. I think that the more people that are open and that want to grow, I think is better. I mean, if I sit down and I look, I've only been doing this walk with God for just under 2 years, which seems like a long time, but it's not, and I'm very blessed to have still been here with all the dumb mistakes that I've made in the previous 45 years. So it's a blessing to be here for me. And I've watched so many people that I didn't think were going to turn their life around. I just watched one of them get up out in front of a football field in front of 150 people and tell his testimony about who he used to be compared to who he is now. And I would have never thought in a million years that guy was going to turn his life around enough to be able to go up there and change the atmosphere. And he does, and he has. And those are the type of people that we want. Anybody that wants to, even people that aren't sure yet, come on here, talk to us, tell us your story, get it out. Sometimes just talking makes things a lot better, right? And I mean, that's kind of, we just want people from all walks of life. We're all misfits, right?
Well, exactly. You basically answered 2 questions at once that I had when I asked, what do you want to feature? But you also talked about what the listeners want to walk away with. So I guess I'll follow on to the next questions. All of us have an origin story. Sometime you found the light and you decided to walk with God. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
So, our other wingman, Travis, he's not here yet today on this episode. You'll see him a lot going forward. But him and I have been in each other's lives for 26 years. My oldest son's 26 years old, and when he was 6 weeks old, he choked on his milk and quit breathing, so I had to call 911. Lucky enough, there was a highway patrolman within 3 blocks of this where we were at down the street, and he heard the call, so he came running up, and basically I heard the sirens. So as he was coming in, I was taking Tanner outside, and I mean, I set him right inside the window, and Travis went straight to work, and he saved Tanner's life. Fast forward 24 years, 23 years, I guess. Travis was at a men's encounter, and some young kid came up to him and asked him how he was doing. Well, Travis didn't quite know who he was. Well, come to find out it was my son. And I think that was really a point for Travis to realize that he was doing good things and that these people were in his life for the right reason. So my kid's struggling with some stuff. But anyways, that next winter, Travis came over to the house to drop some stuff off for Tanner for Christmas. And he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to ask Tanner to go back to Men's Encounter with me. And I said, well, can I go? I think he looked at me like, what the? Because nobody volunteers to go, you know. Most of the time you have to put people in a headlock and blindfold them and put them in a shuttle bus before they want to go do something like that. Because, I mean, you have to put yourself in a vulnerable situation in order to turn things over, right? So I volunteered to go, and he said, yeah. So I was trying to make some changes in my life before I went, just trying to understand who I wanted to be and where I wanted to be. I didn't have any hope or faith, and I wasn't headed in the right direction. And there was no light at the end of the tunnel. I just felt like there was a lot of negativity, and we were just going through the motions, right? So then we went to Encounter, and one of the things that Lucas Melvin, one of the speakers, said there was, you can't sit on the fence, gentlemen, because the devil owns the fence. So you're either in or you're out. And that really got me, because I was like, you know what, you're right. I mean, because how many times I think for even when I knew I wasn't right, I was like, oh yeah, me and God are good. No, we weren't good. We weren't good at all, because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I wasn't following him. I wasn't listening to him. I didn't have a soft heart. There was so many things that I wasn't doing. So being able to be vulnerable enough to just let everything go and to let him have everything and to just be in the moment, to feel his presence when I was there that first time. Oh, I don't, I always tell people, because we've taken, I think we've taken over 30 guys in the last year and a half to encounters. We've had a really good success rate of these guys just wanting to turn their life over to God and do better. I mean, obviously none of us are perfect. The object is to be better tomorrow than we were today. I think that the one thing that we want to focus on is just surrendering, you know. You just want to surrender everything, let everything go, be vulnerable, and then let him take over. And I always thought, I'm 6'4", I'm 290 pounds, I'm a big dude. I'll just bully people into whatever I wanted to do. And that doesn't make me a man. What makes me a man is, putting God first and leading my family and my kids to be better people, to lead them to be leaders and to do the right thing. I had my pastor come over to the house the other day and kind of do a blessing, due to our separation in our household. My youngest son's 8. He's been a little bit distressed at both places. So one thing that we did is we had the pastor come in and bless both houses, and that's definitely helped him relax in both places. But the one thing that he did after our pastor did his little prayer and was going over everything, my kid started praying for himself out loud. And me and him praying at home, or him praying in front of me and his mom, that's one thing. But to see him take control of his emotions and his prayer in front of our pastor, that was something I wasn't praying like that when I was 8 years old.
Well, and I get our 8-year-olds, they're following your leadership. You are the scriptural head of the household, and the Lord teaches us that. Jeff, I do want to go back just a hair, because you said that Travis came to invite your son to Men's Encounter, and you wanted to go. So generally there's an event before that. It sounds like God's already been working in your life previous to Men's Encounter. Did you have a low spot? Did you have a struggle that pulled you into that?
So I think, my my mom and my dad, when they were married, basically the first 5 years of my life, it's kind of a blur, because we weren't in a real good place. My grandpa, who was a huge part of my first part of growing up, he passed away when I think I was just about 5. And I remember that. And that was like the first big person that was taken away, right? And then 2 weeks later, my parents were divorced and we're moving 4 hours away, and life's changed. And I think that one thing that I realized this summer was, holy cow, I'm 47 years old. My sister's 48 years old. And we've never talked about the first 5 years of our life. And then as things go on, you struggle in adulthood. I had a son that was 8 weeks old that passed away when we were 23, and shortly after, well, I was probably 24. Shortly after that, I got divorced, and then I don't know what I was chasing after that. I think I was just chasing, right? And I don't know if you've ever watched the movie The Replacements, but Shane Falco, I think it's Keanu Reeves plays that deal, and they're always asking about what's your greatest fears, and the one guy's like, spiders, man, I don't like spiders, and he says quicksand, and everyone starts to pay attention because what he's about to say is really, really good, and you don't realize that how quicksand works. It's a sticky mud that just sucks you in. The harder you fight through it, the harder it pulls you in. Eventually, you can't breathe and you suffocate and it takes you over. And life works a lot like that. I think that as we grow older, I mean, I went through that, and then I just went through relationship after relationship, job after job. As I go back to my relationships, I just felt like the biggest thing that I struggled with was I think I took them all for granted. I think that once you get in there and you feel comfortable and you feel like you can do whatever you want to do, and that's not the case. You should still be wanting to grow with them, right? Instead of being disappointed if they're even around. Like, man, they're just irritating. I feel like, I really ruined a lot of relationships in my life just because I didn't treat people right. And I don't know if that stems from the trauma that you face when you're younger, and then as I got older, my stepdad, who was a huge part, I mean, he basically pulled us off the streets and gave us a place to live. I mean, we were living in Section 8 housing and had food stamps and whatever else you want to call it back then. And we took him for granted. Everyone in our house took him for granted. He did a lot for us. He put us first. He didn't have any of his own kids. He just took us, right? And we go back to what Lucas Melvin said at Encounter. On top of the whole fence thing, he said that when a woman leads a man or their family to church, they have essentially it's like a 36% success rate to stay in that church and to stay in that cycle, right? And when a man leads his family to church and he puts everything first, there's about a 92% success rate that they're going to stay in that cycle, and that they're going to keep doing the right thing. And I think that that's one thing that I took away, because my stepdad was like that. I mean, he didn't have to take us. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have no skin in the game. Those are the type of people that he may not have led us to God, but he led us to be better people. He taught us that you pick people up and you dust them off and you make them great, and you put up with their flaws. I mean, good Lord, I did everything I could to sabotage that guy's day. I did everything I could to get under his skin, and nothing bothered him. He just kept loving me. And that's what God does. Like, all our stupid mistakes, all our stupid sins, all of our stupid not listening to him, everything that we don't do, he just dusts us off, picks us up, and gives us a hug, and because he loves us. And those are the things that I feel like I was missing before Travis asked me to go to Encounter. I feel like I didn't have no hope. I didn't have no faith. I didn't have any of that. And the funny thing is since I've went, I haven't had a bad day, even when I've had a bad day. Like, obviously, we all go through trials and tribulations, and we all go through struggles and whatnot, and we all have them every single day. But man, just waking up and being able to say, good morning, God, thanks for another day. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I always listen to people and they're like, oh, I'm so tired. Man, I used to be like that. Now, even when I'm tired, I'm not tired because I'm blessed to be here. We're here doing his work. So we need to stop feeling sorry for ourselves and stop being but suck it up and ask him what he wants us to do next.
So, I mean, with the title Walking with Him, this is an easy path, right? It's an easy walk. It's a nice paved walkway. The sun is out, the birds are singing, and that's the walk with God. Or am I misunderstanding something?
Yeah, you know what though? I feel like it is, but it's not. No, it's not. Obviously, we still have our struggles that we have to deal with, but I'm gonna bring up another Travis deal. He had told us not too long ago, I think you were there at one of our men's groups, he had said that he had learned not too long ago that you can only have one emotion at a time. No matter how bad the news is that someone's giving you right now, if you just breathe, take a minute, digest it. I mean, you ain't gonna handle it by yourself anyway. So the first thing that you need to do is digest it and talk to God, and He'll help you through it. But instead, sometimes, we fixate on and we flip out and start throwing stuff around and cussing and screaming because that makes us feel better. And we have the wrong emotion, and we've come at the whole thing the wrong way, right? I feel like we've done wrecked the whole situation, where if we came together and we're like, it's not that big of a deal. We're just going, God put this in front of us. We're going to knock it out. Right. And we have that one good emotion to start with. I think then the rest is history. But when we make that bad emotion and we get angry, then it's really hard to get out of that rhythm. Right. And I think that we get sucked in, and that's where we stay when it comes to those things.
I guess I'm going to put you back forward again now. You're now the scriptural head of your household. You led your family, and I understand there's some problems, and you're in two different homes. But I heard you say something about your son, and I won't bring his name up since this is a podcast and I'm going national. You were proud of your son because he was comfortable to share his faith in front of you, his family, his pastor. Did you show him that light? Did he find that light? Did his mother show him that light? How did he get there?
So that's a good one because, I've only been doing this 2 years, and as I've grown, I've been learning how to pray, right? And then I've learned, oh, I'm going to pray out loud in front of 10 people. And so then I think I've been so proud of myself that I wasn't paying attention, because this last summer, my son went to a little kid's church camp, and they were in all little groups. We live in a small community, so everybody knows everybody. So he was with his friends, and he had told one of the kids, he's like, I don't know how to pray. And the kid's like, that's all right. You just thank God, And he helped him through it. And then he came home, and then I realized I'm only doing part of my job, because he said he didn't know how to pray. And he's right, he didn't. I was so focused on being proud that I learned to pray that I didn't teach him how to pray. Yeah, I was leading in the church, and we were going to Wednesday nights, and we were doing all that stuff, and we were getting better, and we were doing better things at home, but I didn't set him down and teach him the one-on-ones. So it took another 9-year-old kid to say, that's all right, I got you. So since that happened, his mom and I have both spent a lot of time with him. And it started with, I would say a line and then he would repeat it, or she would say a line and he would repeat it. And then last week him and I went to Omaha to a Elevation Worship concert. And we were just talking, and I said, we should say a prayer. And he just rattled it. He goes, I don't know what to say. And I said, well, just say how you feel. So he started with Dear God, and he just rattled it off. And I was like, that's it. And he's like, that's all you got to do? And I was like, yeah, that's all you got to do. And like, it brought a smile to his face, because I think he felt confident enough that he could actually do it. And then to do what he did the other day in front of the pastor, that's a whole different story, because that's the first time that he's led a prayer on his own in front of somebody else. And I can tell you that, I like I said earlier, I wasn't doing that when I was 8 years old.
Well, it sounds like God's come into your home. You've shared your love of God, and now it's grown in your family. And I pray for your family, and I pray for your homes, and I pray that all comes back together. God's working in our lives. But Jeff, I'm going to let you off the hot seat for a second. I'm curious. I want to talk about scripture. Are you getting in the Bible? Do you have some favorite scriptures you want to talk about?
So, favorite scriptures, I really don't, because here's why. So we've had a men's group, and one thing that we decided that we were going to do towards the end of last year was read the Bible in a year. So then it was, how are we going to do it? So we had agreed that we were going to do it in chronological order, which, the way that it happened. And September 24th, we finally got to the New Testament. So, it was a long 9.5 months. I didn't realize how much happened before Jesus shows up, right? So I don't really have a favorite scripture. Right now, I'm still learning the stories. Does that make sense? Because I think that because everyone's like, even when somebody shows up to church for the first time and they're like, I'm going to dig into scripture, where should I start? And that's a tricky question, right? Because everyone's like, well, you start in the beginning. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot of great, that's not, sometimes I think that we should start somewhere where there's some positives, right? And work forward or backwards, however you want to do it. But I didn't really. I'm going to tell you a story, and uh, when we started this just under 2 years ago, my pastor had asked me if I would get up on Sunday and read a Bible verse, which was basically for his sermon coming up, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I was so excited. Like, I mean, look at, I didn't even used to go to church, and this guy's going to give me the mic. I mean, holy cow, this is a big day, right? And I look in the Bible, and I'm pre-reading what he wants me to read, and I'm looking, and I'm like, why is there red letters? And I'm looking around, and I can't figure. So I called him, right, and I'm like, man, the story of what you want me to read is really, really cool, but I have a question. And he's like, yeah, what? And I said, why is there red letters in the Bible? I just don't understand. And I go, it's not all over, it's just in some spots. And he like paused. And I think that that was a moment for him where he realized, holy cow, not everybody was led the same way that he was, right? And he was nice and he was gentle. And he's like, so when something's written in red in the Bible, that's Jesus talking. And the reason that there's not very much red is because he was only alive for 33 years. And if you sit down and you think about that, you're like, wow, that's pretty deep. And so I was 46 years old before I realized that what the red was in the Bible. I'm sure that there's other people that are the same age that didn't know that either, but a lot of people do, and they have because they were doing the right thing and they were in the right situation at some point in their life, and that's good. That's awesome that they were put in a situation where they were able to learn that. Probably. What's funny is when I was in high school, I went to Wednesday nights all the time, and I think that I was more fixed on just hanging out with good people that I didn't learn why I was there. Does that make sense?
Makes a ton of sense.
I think that just being in their presence made me feel better. I don't even know why, but I don't think I missed a Wednesday in junior or in high school. I think that I grabbed a group of people and I just went with them. And I didn't hang out with those people the other 6 days of the week, right? I was excited to go to, I don't even know what it was called, where just at a church, but it was a Wednesday nights. And I had s- I have so many memories of that, but I can't tell you that I learned anything while I was there other than I was in the presence of good people. But yeah, I think that that's yeah, I know I'm just rambling on there, but yeah, that's kind of that would be my answer there.
Well, and Jeff, you allude to you're learning the Bible stories now. I admit in my own faith, sometimes I'm jealous of children in children's church because they learn the stories in the Bible, the Old Testament, how we got there, how God taught us we are not equal to him. We can't be. We've sinned. And the prophecies of our Lord coming. And then we hit the New Testament and here's the Lord. But we miss all those stories in between. And I think you hit really well on that. Is there a particular story that you like that you've learned so far?
Job. So if you sit down and read the story of Job, like I've made my mess my whole entire life, and I've had a lot of blessings put in front of me, and I've wrecked them because I made bad choices and I didn't follow his plan, and I wasn't respectful. I didn't believe, and I didn't do the right things, right? And then there's Job, who has a perfect life, was put in a good situation, has everything going for him, never sins, never does anything, and the devil's roaming around earth, just looking for his next victim. And I don't know, God's like, hey, why don't you go talk to my guy Job? And he's like, what? It's like, yeah, that guy'll be easy because you give him everything. And he's not, he might have everything, but he ain't going nowhere. That's my guy right there. We'll go pick on him for a little bit. You can't hurt him. You can't take his life. You can do whatever you want. And he didn't even play around like right away. Like, he took his kid, like he just burned everything, took everything around him, just took everything from him. And he never fired away from God. He took him a minute to figure out why this was happening, but he never strayed away from God. He always put his faith in God, and he never gave up, and he never blamed God. He never did anything. And in the end, he got everything. He had tenfold more than he had before, but he had to go through that. So you you look, I don't know, that's the one story in the Bible where because I think that sometimes we get to that point where we feel sorry for ourselves. I look at points where I'm at in my life right now. I'm like, man, I'm trying to follow you, God. I'm trying to do what you want me to do. Why am I going through this? Shut up. It's life. Like, just knock it out. Like, kick its butt. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. Nothing's going to be hand fed to you the whole time. Otherwise it would be a fairy tale. And that's not what we live in. And so I think it's how we handle our struggles and our trials and our tribulations. And Job, just the way that he, it's really the only story in there where he did the right things the whole time. Even when things got bad, he never strayed away. I'm far from Job because I I I I did make mistakes, but he never did anything wrong. He did the right thing all the time, and still had to go through that. If I had to pick a story, um, that would definitely be one.
One of the other common questions I hear out of people is they ask questions. How do you know? You've prayed the prayer. You've heard God's love. God, I want you in my life. I want you to run my life. Lord, I want to live for you. How do I know I'm saved? How do you know? Because there's times you've got to get stuck.
So that's funny because that's what everyone's like, man. Well, this encounter sounds like a cult. Did you drink the Kool-Aid? And the thing is that encounter deal that we go to, it's not the way, it's a way. It's a way for you to be able to sit down and get one-on-one with God and get real. And I think that, when we go to God, it's always, what's a Jelly Roll song where he says, I only talk to God when I need a favor? But that song, I mean, you know what? That guy hit the nail on the head because I think for a long, long time, I think that's where because that's why we're always like, yeah, I'm good with God. I pray for him when I need a favor. And I think that a lot of us live in that misfit, um, rebel, renegade. I mean, that's what we're all. We're all just misfits, rebels and renegades, runaways, right? We're all come from bad places. And when we decide to turn things over and let him have it, that's when we can get real. And when I said earlier, you have to surrender and you have to surrender all your sins. You can't just talk to him like you don't know if he's there. You have to believe that he's there when you sit down with him. And I know that when I sat down and I let him have everything. I'm sorry for all, and I went through all my mistakes and I wrote them out. And it was about the third time that I went back through it that I realized that the tears started to come out and I realized that I was forgiven. Once you do something like that, now you got to come back and you got to apologize to the people that you made wrongs with. And unfortunately, that story is probably not always going to end as well as the story that I just told you, which is that I was crying and I felt the presence and I knew that he was hugging me and he was telling me that I was forgiven. And that feeling's nice and warm. And I've had that feeling with him several times since then. But when you come back and you want to right your wrongs, that's when you get tested of really how good of a person you are going to be going forward. Because I've just talked about, my separation in my household. We were still together when I went to Encounter the first time. Now, obviously, our relationship's been in a bad place for a long time. But one thing that I wanted to do when I came back, I just talked about this a little bit ago, taking people for granted, right? Not treating them like they needed to be treated, not giving them the respect that they deserved, and not making them feel like they're a part of your partnership in a relationship. And one thing that I did was I came back and I told her that I was sorry and I apologized for everything. The thing is they don't have to accept your apology, and that's okay. The one thing that you got to remember is that they'll do that on their time when they sit down with God and they have their one-on-one and they get when they get where they want to be, they'll eventually come back and they will forgive you. And they'll probably apologize to you for not forgiving you. But you have to be patient and just pray and just hope that, eventually things work out with that one person that you apologize to and you didn't get the acceptance that you wanted. It's okay. Because just remember, and this is the most important thing that you need to remember when you go through something like this, is God forgave you. He forgives you. He loves you. He forgives you. And you're saved. And when you remember that and you keep continuing to do that day in and day out, eventually, this is another one of my friend Travis's one of his deals that he likes to say all the time is eventually, if you do the right thing and you act the right way, people will want some of what you have. And it takes a long time. It's not something that happens in 3 weeks. It's not something that happens in 3 months. It's things that take a long, long time. I mean, I'm almost 2 years in, and people are just now starting to see it. And that's fine. I mean, I was a mess. And I think that my partner at the time, even when I came back, I think that the biggest thing that she thought was, oh, yeah, he's being nice. So we'll see how long it lasts. And then eventually, the thing that you want to focus on when you come back is surrounding yourself with good people, because you need that positive energy. If someone's going to suck the life out of you, then it's really hard to continue to put God first. I mean, the biggest thing that God talks about is love in your heart, right? And having a soft heart. And the one thing that we've been talking about in church the last couple of weeks is love. God says, love thy neighbor. And I did a little spiritual reading at church 2 weeks ago, and I was reading that to my son before we went to church. And one of the things I was reading was a story in there. Well, I believe it was Luke, but anyways, it was talking about love thy neighbor. And it was funny because I've read 11 verses, and of everything I read, my son said, "Who's your neighbor? Who's our neighbor?" And you know what? Is that not a good question, Brandon? Who's your neighbor? And I think that when you come back from wherever you're going, when you have your one-on-one with God, wherever your way is that you sit down and you get right, that's your question, right? Is who's your neighbor? It said in there that you wanted to treat them like you treat yourself. So there's two things in there that you got to take away. First things first, are you taking care of yourself? Are you treating yourself the way that you need to treat yourself? Or are you out making bad decisions and putting your body through things that you probably shouldn't be doing? Because if that's the case, then your neighbor probably doesn't want none of what you have anyways, right? So I think that it's important to focus on, you know, the importance here. I know I got sidetracked a little bit, but I like that. I liked that part that I read the other day. And I liked what my son said, because I think that that's the thing that I've been trying to focus on the last 3 weeks is who's my neighbor, and because that's important. But I think that um, the story that they told was the guy was walking in a part that he shouldn't have been walking out at night, and they jumped him, and they basically left him for dead. And two pastors walked right by him and didn't do nothing. But the misfit picked him up, put him on his horse, took him to the hospital, dropped him off, left him a couple bucks, and said, "I'll be back in a few days to check on him, and if you need more money, I'll pay you up when I get back." That's your neighbor. The pastors walked right by him. They were scared to go help him, but I mean, you would have thought that those would have been the first two people to pick him up. So I think that we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing when it comes to that.
Jeff, as we slowly draw this to a close, and I appreciate your time, I have one final question. Somebody out there is listening today. They've got questions. They want to know about God. If they're feeling lost, if they're feeling lonely, what would you say to them?
Man, I don't know. I was lucky enough that I had a good guy around me. I didn't know it, but I would say go find somebody to talk to. We have a really good men's group here that we've kind of put together in the last 2 years. I think we might not always get together on the same week, but we have over 30 guys that are out, fishing and talking about God. And in a small town like this, that's just our church. And that's pretty awesome. We have, 7 churches with a bunch of group of guys out pushing the word. And I think that they're out there. And I'm not going to get into politics, but just watching Charlie Kirk thing that's happened in the last 2 months and just watching everybody evolve around it. It's terrible that there's bad going on, because there is, but there's a lot of good going on too. And I think that if someone's struggling, go find somebody to talk to. I know that you might not think that they're out there, but there's a lot of good people out there. Send us an email. We'll put you in touch. We'll try to find somebody. Just find somebody, because I think that we've had some really, really rough people come through, and I'm not even talking. I mean, I lived a really, really good life compared to some of these guys that have come in our men's group. And I mean, just watching them, they just needed us to talk to them. And then they made the changes themselves afterward. They just needed a group to believe in them. they believed in God, they just didn't know where to start, right? So sometimes just having a group around them, like a brotherhood, like, I mean, one of the things that we kind of push in our little neck of the woods is we kind of try to be sheepdogs. I mean, we have a really good herd, but we will cross the fence to go get that one. And I think that the question that you just asked is where do they go? Well, we're looking for that one. We're looking for you. So come find, somebody to talk to because they're looking for them. We're looking for them, I just got to get on you just got to find that right person. And then I think they'll definitely be headed in the right direction. And it's not just, I say guys a lot. I mean, obviously women are in the same boat and there's a lot of strong women out there that'll guide you in the right direction. We've got some great women in our church that are great leaders and sometimes they grab us by the ear and pull us in the right direction too. So, I said men and guys a lot today, so I wanted to reiterate that there's a lot of great women out there doing the same thing.
Well, and I will put in a plug for the men's group. Brought me in, welcomed me to their group. They're a good group. It's non-denominational. We meet on Wednesdays, usually 6:30, sometimes 7. We tend to text each other and move our times to where we can get everybody there. I appreciate that it's non-denominational. It's just about loving people. But now that it's getting cooler in the evenings, we've started meeting at the Church of God in Waukene at 6:30. At 6 o'clock, they have dinner for the children. You're welcome to be there. Come to Waukene. We'll just love you with the rest. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. And Jeff, anything else you want to add before we wrap this up and tell everybody goodbye?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for hopefully watching and learning. And if anybody wants to be on a show, just, I think Brandon's got a site set up or whatnot. You can send Brandon a message and we're going to start you're going to start seeing, second episode, third episode, you're going to start seeing us as we get going. We're going to bring in a different guest every week and we're going to listen to their story and how they got here or where they want to go. And we just want to grow this. So we want everybody to be a part of this. This needs to be everybody's walk. It's not just, I mean, we're just starting it, but one thing that I read in a book, I can't even remember. I can tell you Craig Rochelle wrote the book, but the one thing that was being said in there was, and I don't even remember the guy, but many, 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 many years ago, this guy was going around doing sermon speeches and whatnot for churches, right? Way back hundreds and hundreds of years ago when they didn't have social media and all this stuff. And I think that the thing that I read was, I think he had over like 18,000 sermons. Like, that's pretty incredible, right? So my question is, how do you and I top what he did? Because we're so late in the game, right? But we're hungry and we want to do the right thing. So how do we do that? Well, we have social media. So can we do 18,000 sermons? No. But can we reach 18,000 people? We can try. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. Let's get to 18,000. At least try. And in sermons, we can't even, I would love to do the math on how many people he touched in 18,000 sermons, because I don't know how many people were in a service back then, but 18,000 sermons. I've got a long ways to go. I don't know that I'll ever get there, but one thing that we can do is we can try to touch as many people as he can by using the power that we have. Social media, there's a lot of bad stuff on the internet, so let's put some good stuff on there. I know that you want to wrap things up. One of the things that Steve Weatherford used to play football in the NFL, and he has a men's group down in Texas now. And I've been following him. It's like a men's camp, like a boot camp for men. And he is really a fit guy. And he's taking these guys down and they're running in mountains and they're doing ice baths. And I've lost 45 pounds in the last 5 months. So I think I need to lose about 25 more pounds so I can fit in that tub. No, I can get in that. I need to toughen up so that I can go sit in that tub with him. But basically what he's doing is he's leading men to God every single week. I mean, he had it made. He had a couple businesses. He did not need another task in his life. And he sold his businesses and everything and moved to Texas. What he's doing now is he's leading guys to God. I don't think that he has a church, but I think what he's doing is he's every Tuesday morning, I think they get together. His friends fish and they bring new people together. And I think like every Tuesday morning at like 5:30, they get together and they worship. They just help each other through these struggles for the first time. Because most of these guys that show up every single Tuesday, they're not a good place and they're not being led by the right people. The army that he's built down there in Texas, man, and to watch what he's done. And of course he has a lot bigger surrounding on social media than we do. I mean, he's been in the NFL. I mean, he's got connections. But for us to start here, someday hopefully we can have something cool like Steve Weatherford, because what he's done down there, and he didn't even need that. He has a great family with awesome kids, and he has money. He didn't need and to put everything on the back burner and to just put God first and to do what he's doing right now and to show men that you might be big and ripped and whatnot, but you'll be twice as strong when you turn things over to God. That's one thing that I think that we would like to get out of this in the end is just we just you and I are standing here, sitting here, but this isn't our show. It's God's show. We want to walk with Him together, not just you and me, all of us. We want that, and that's I think one of the biggest things is we're just sitting here, but and there's just two of us, right? We have no visitors yet.
Nope.
Hopefully we get to the point where let's just start with 18,000. That's our goal, right? So eventually we can tally things up. Hopefully we can see 18,000 people. That's a good start. Now he did 18,000 sermons, so if we can just touch 18,000 people, that would be a good start. Yeah, I'll finish. That's really all I had to say is, again, if you need someone to talk to or you want to be on the show and you want to tell your story, I think Brandon will have something on YouTube or whatnot that'll link to the website so that you can send a message. And you don't have to be in Waukene. Brandon you can put them on mobile, right?
Oh yeah, we can set it up where they come.
You can zoom in on this, so you don't even have to be here to be a part of the show. So, and we want, people from all walks of life to be in here, and we want to hear your story. Everyone wants to hear your story. We just want to give people the opportunity to let God tell their story through them, right? And I think that that's the biggest thing that we want to focus on.
Well, Jeff, I appreciate your time. Let me visit with you today. I realize it's your show and I got to interview you, and it's been just such a pleasure.
And
And
we love having you.
I think 18,000 is a great goal, but I want to get there one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
And I thank you, and I thank everybody for watching us. We're learning as we go. Hopefully we make it better every time. Hey, thank you for your time.